Margaret here again. I'm here today with my May wrap-up. May was a pretty okay month, so let me tell you about what I read. First, I have two carryover books from April. The first one I finished was In One Person by John Irving. I did a full review of this, which I'll link down below, and while we're talking about reviews, sorry that my video making was a little lackluster in May. May is my busiest month of the year in terms of work, and it's just been really crazy, and so I haven't had the time to film as many videos as I would like to, especially like review and discussion videos. So my apologies for that. It will get better, I hope. Anyway, In One Person by John Irving. I did a full review on it. I love this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. Absolutely amazing. John Irving's incredible. Please read this book. I also finished All About Love by Bell Hooks. These are essays about love and what it means to love and what society tells us it means to love, but what we should actually be looking for out of love, things of that nature. I liked it. It was a little dense for me at times, and it took me a long time to get through, considering it's only like 240 pages. And I also felt like there were a lot of religious undertones in some of the essays, which is fine, but I didn't necessarily personally connect with that. So in the end, I gave the collection as a whole 3 stars. Then Bout of Books 13.0, I think, happened, and I was going to read all the things, and I did not read all of the things, but I did finish 4 rather short things. I read Bartleby the Scrivener by Herman Melville. This, of course, is a short story / novella about Bartleby the Scrivener. This was good. It's the first, full work of Melville's that I've read, and of course I have Moby Dick to tackle eventually. I didn't mind it at all, and I believe I gave it 3 stars in the end. Then I read Citizen, an American Lyric by Claudia Rankine. I believe that this is my only 5-star read for the month of May. It was absolutely outstanding. This is a collection of prose poetry by Claudia Rankine, who's a Jamaican American. The collection revolves around current events in the U.S., mostly as they relate to race issues and racial tension in the U.S., and it was totally mind-blowing, definitely a life-changing collection. I had never read, I don't think, a collection of prose poetry before, but I really like the form, and I'm very excited to check out more of her work soon. So again, 5 stars to this. Please read it. It was nominated for the National Book Award. It's really good. Then I read the second volume of Amulet, which is The Stonekeeper's Curse. This is by Kazuo Kibushi, and I've talked about this series before. It's a middle grade graphic novel series, kind of fantasy, adventure-ish. I don't want to give too much away because it's a really fun story to have unfold. I think that the art is absolutely fantastic, and it's just a lot of fun. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm looking forward to picking up the next volume soon. And then the only full-length novel I read during Bout of Books was The Air Affair by Jasper Fforde. I have drawn this out of my TBR jar for May, and it is the first in the Thursday Next series, which is a series about Thursday, who's kind of a literary detective. It's set in an alternative universe where there's kind of a police state and literature is taken very seriously. I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I gave it 3 stars in the end. I wasn't as enthralled with it as I expected to be. I think I had really high hopes for this one, which kind of let me down in the end. But I do think I'll continue on with the series because it was definitely by no means a bad read, and it was a lot of fun. The one thing is that this story in particular kind of revolves around and almost is a retelling, sort of in a way, of Jane Eyre. And I am not the biggest Jane Eyre fan. I mean, as you can imagine, The Air Affair. But, so I think that that kind of took it away from me. Like, maybe if it had been more focused around a book that I really love, would have liked it a lot more. There's also a lot about Charles Dickens' Martin Chuzzlewit in here, and that is a book that I started like a year ago and never finished because I didn't like it very much as far as Dickens goes, so I think that put me off a little bit too. But again, a lot of fun. I will continue on the series, and I gave it 3 stars. And I read some other things as well in May. I read The Women of Brewster Place by Gloria Naylor. This was really stunning. It's a series of short stories almost. It's self-proclaimed a novel in 7 stories about all of these women that live on this street called Brewster Place. This is a book about race, it's a book about gender, it's a book about class and society, and it's just a really, really touching book. It follows 7 different women and their stories. Really, really heartbreaking. I will say that there are scenes of graphic domestic and sexual violence, so if you do not want to read those, don't read this. But I am thoroughly looking forward to picking up more of Gloria Naylor's work. Her writing style is absolutely incredible, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Also in May, I half read, half listened to the audiobook of Mr. Fox by Helen Oyeyemi. This is my first Oyeyemi, that's really hard to say, Oyeyemi novel. And I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. So it's a little tricky to follow, and I don't think the audio necessarily helped me with that because I tend to get distracted more easily when I'm listening to an audiobook. I'm not very familiar with, I believe it's based on classic fairy tales. I'm not familiar with those, so I maybe didn't make the connections that I was supposed to. But the characters were really vivid, and there are sections of the story that are like very meta stories within stories. And I kind of liked that as well. I'll definitely be checking out more of her work. And again, not a bad book. It gave me a lot to think about. Like I said, I think some of it went over my head, and maybe I was a little too distracted while I read it. Also this month, I finally read Donna Tartt. I read The Secret History with the BookTube Reading Buddies, and I liked it. I hate unnecessary prologues. And I felt like the first half of the prologue of this book was really good. The last, maybe 5 pages of this book left such a bad taste in my mouth that this would have been a 4-star read for me, but I knocked it down to 3 stars. So I can't give too much away about the plot of this book. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's kind of it's not a whodunit story, but it's kind of a why did they do it story. Because you know from the get-go that somebody's been murdered and you know who did it, but you don't know why or the events leading up to it. So it kind of works its way in reverse. Very interesting. I thought the writing was really beautiful. The central characters are studying classics at a university in New England, and so there's a lot of reference to more classical works and classical philosophy, some of which went right over my head because that's not an area of study I'm particularly familiar with. So that combined with, really, the last 5 pages. Why did she write them? Why are they there? Anyway, I gave the book 3 stars overall. It's definitely worth checking out. I'll definitely be reading more from Donna Tartt, but was not my favorite. And then also from my TBR jar this month, I read Heidi by Joanna Spyri. This was really cute. It's a classic Swiss children's story, which I'm sure you've heard of. I enjoyed it. It's light and delightful. It's definitely got Christian undertones, but considering that it was published, I believe, in 1880. I should know this. 1880. Yeah, I was right. Considering that you can't, of course there are Christian undertones coming from Western Europe. So, I liked it. One problem, why is Heidi always portrayed as blonde when in the book she has black hair and dark eyes? Think about it. I could actually make a video about that. Maybe I will. I gotta watch some more movie adaptations of Heidi first, though. Next, I read Nimona. This was just released in May. It is a bind-up of a webcomic by Noelle Stevenson. I was not familiar with the webcomic before I read this. I read this based on the recommendation of Nicole from Nicole's Adventures in SFF, because she read it. She got a review copy, I believe, and she really liked it. It was a lot of fun. The main characters in the story are the villains, not the good guys, and it's kind of a fantasy / sci-fi / superhero story. It's the best of all the worlds. And I thought the art was really fun. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I ended up being really attached to it in the end. So I ended up giving this 4 stars. It was a really enjoyable read, and this book is gorgeous. I don't think I've actually officially hauled it yet, but I will. And look, it's the same under the dust jacket, which I love. So I really enjoyed that. And then lastly this month, I just last night, which was the 29th, finished Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This is my first James Baldwin novel. It has left me completely stunned and kind of in shock, and I loved it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I have a lot to say about it. I think I'll do a full review, and we can talk about it more then. Very interesting exploration of gender roles and sexuality. It's a very interesting look at what society tells us we should be based on our gender and what we actually are inside, and how those two ideals can come into conflict. Really, really, really loved it. So, 4 stars. It didn't like push me over the edge for 5 stars, and I don't know why, but it might be one of those books that bumps up in rating the longer I think about it, because I really enjoyed it. I mean, James Baldwin's writing is outstanding, and again, I think I'm going to do a full review, so I should shut up now, so I still have things left to say in that review video. And that's all I read in May. Today is the 30th, so I have one more day to go, and I might pick up a graphic novel or 2 in that day, because that's kind of how I'm feeling. But if I do, I'll make sure I talk about them in my next comics reviews video, which should be coming this month sometime. If you have read any of these books, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. I think my obvious standout was Citizen, The Woman of Rooster Place, Giovanni's Room, all fantastic. Other than that, it's kind of a 3-star month for me, which is fine. And tell me what your favorite book was in May. Tell me what your least favorite book was in May. That I'd love to hear, too. And I hope you all are having a lovely day, and I'll see you later. Bye!